All right, today we're talking about what could be the biggest jump forward for the iPhone in a long time. We're going to dive into some really credible rumors about the upcoming iPhone 18 Pro. And based on what our sources are saying, we're looking at some major changes. We're talking everything from a radical new look to a feature that could literally change how we connect forever.
Okay, let's just jump right in with the first thing you're going to notice, the look. On the left, you've got the iPhone 17 Pro with that dynamic island we all know. But now, look over to the right at the rumored iPhone 18 Pro. See that? The whole pill-shaped cutout is just gone. It's been replaced by this single, tiny little circle for the camera. I mean, it's a way cleaner look for sure. But the really cool part isn't just what it looks like, it's how Apple is pulling this off.
So yeah, how is Apple making that cutout so small? And what else is on the table? Well, here's what we're going to break down for you. First, we'll stick with that new look up front. Then, we're going to talk about what our source is calling the most significant upgrade, maybe ever. After that, we'll peek under the hood at the performance leap, and finally, we'll look at a glimpse of the future that is just wow.
All right, first up, a new look up front. Let's dive into how Apple is actually redefining the display.
So, how are they shrinking that notch? Well, the magic is actually happening underneath the screen. Our source says the entire Face ID system, the dot projector, the infrared sensor, the whole setup, is being tucked away right below the display. That means the only thing that needs a visible cutout is the camera itself. It's a really clever piece of engineering, and it's what makes that super clean, minimal design even possible.
And hey, it's not just the front of the phone that's getting a makeover. Apple is apparently also testing out some brand new colors for the Pro lineup. We're talking about a deep burgundy, a pretty unique-sounding brown, and a classic purple. So yeah, you might be able to spot the new iPhone from clear across the room.
But look, the design changes, that's really just the beginning. Now we get to what our source is calling the single most significant upgrade of them all, a potential revolution in the camera system.
And just so you get a sense of how big a deal this is, listen to this quote directly from our source. They said it's the most significant upgrade that has come to iPhone camera systems since the addition of more than one of them. I mean, think about that. That's a massive statement. This isn't just some minor software update. We are talking about a fundamental hardware revolution.
So what is this incredible game-changing technology? Well, it's called variable aperture. And the key thing to understand is that this is not a software trick. It's a real physical mechanism inside the camera lens that can physically change its size. It opens and closes to precisely control how much light is hitting the sensor.
The easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of it just like your own eye. When you're in a dark room, your pupil gets wider to let more light in, right? The camera will do the same thing. The aperture will open up wide, which means you get brighter, cleaner photos at night. And then, when you're out in bright sunlight, it tightens up to stop the picture from getting all washed out and overexposed. It's all about giving the camera real, physical control over light.
And if you're someone who really loves photography, it's huge. A physical variable aperture means you can get that beautiful, natural, blurry background, that bokeh effect, organically. It's the difference between a true optical effect created by the lens itself and the software-based portrait mode, which, let's be honest, can sometimes look a little fake around the edges. This is the real deal.
Okay, but we do need to add a couple of important warnings here, and these come straight from our source. First, there's a real chance this amazing feature could be exclusive to the bigger, more expensive iPhone 18 Pro Max. And second, and this is a big one, Apple was apparently testing this exact same tech for last year's iPhone 17 Pro, and it didn't make the cut. So, while this is all incredibly exciting, it's definitely not a sure thing just yet.
Now, a camera system that advanced is going to need a whole lot of power to drive it. So that brings us to our next section. Let's go under the hood and talk about the Pro Performance Leap.
So, as you'd probably expect, the new iPhone is almost certainly getting a new chip, the A20 Pro. Now, the big story here is the jump from a 3nm process down to a 2nm process. What does that mean for you? Well, in simple terms, it means Apple can cram way more transistors onto the chip. And that translates directly into two things we all want: a big boost in speed and even better efficiency for longer battery life.
But the main processor isn't the only new piece of hardware in there. The rumor is that Apple is finally ready to roll out its own in-house 5G modem. So why does that matter to you? Well, for one, when Apple controls both the hardware and the software, they can really optimize it for better speed and efficiency. That means a better connection for you. But also, it means Apple saves a ton of money by not having to buy modems from a company like Qualcomm. All right, and finally, let's talk about a feature that looks way beyond just this year's phone. This is a real glimpse of the future, a whole new era of how we connect.
Now, this idea isn't coming out of nowhere. Apple has been laying the groundwork for this for years. Think back to the iPhone 14. That's when they introduced emergency SOS via satellite. So what's the next logical step in that plan? Well, the rumor is it's for the iPhone 18 Pro to get full 5G data connectivity beamed directly from satellites in orbit.
I mean, let's just be really clear here. This would be an absolute game changer. Just imagine having a 5G data connection anywhere on the planet where you can see the sky. No more dead zones when you're hiking, no more drop service in the middle of nowhere. This isn't just an iPhone upgrade. This would completely tweak the entire landscape of what we even mean by mobile connection.
And all of this brings us to one last, kind of bigger question. We're hearing reports that CEO Tim Cook might be stepping down in the coming years. So you have to wonder, could this, a truly global satellite network for everyone, be the final defining innovation of his entire era at Apple? It's a really fascinating thought to chew on while we wait and see if all these rumors actually become reality. Thanks for joining me.